Smooth Criminal Light Drive by Travis Bickley. I taught her how to steal. She was only 6 years old when I began the lessons. I started first with timing and hand position in reference to the ball. You know, you have to start somewhere. And so it was with her. I had just brought home a regulation basketball, goal, post, and ball. It took a good couple of hours to sink that thick metal post in chipped pieces of concrete block and wet cement. But once it was in, it was in. After the cement set, I tested the goal on the following afternoon. The height of the goal was adjustable, and as she was only 6 years old and playing on a team that used 6-foot-high goals, that height seemed appropriate for her new home goal. Next, I spray painted on the enlarged driveway the foul lines, the top of the key circle, and much of the three-point shooting line that the driveway could handle. Her new basketball court was indeed a thing of beauty. Her first evening of shooting practice began. She could barely get enough force to reach the backboard at first, but she was very persistent. And although the sun had set and I had turned the outside driveway light on, she continued to shoot until finally she made her first basket. That day was done. Wednesday, we went at it early. When she had an understanding of arch and follow-through, her shots began to follow more frequently. This provided me with an opportunity to work with her on other aspects of her game. Steal the ball, I encouraged. I explained that the maximum amount of time a defensive player has to steal the ball from the dribbler begins just as the ball begins its downward journey from the dribbler's hand to the court below. This is the time to sweep the ball away. Additionally, you should always force the ball handler to dribble in the direction opposite the hand side where the ball is dribbled. For example, a right-handed dribbler should go to the left by setting up to the right of the front player. This tactic naturally exposes the ball to the defensive player, and once the ball is swept away, the ball goes in the direction opposite the direction the dribbler is moving. Once the ball is in control of the thief has usually a two-step advantage in moving towards the opponent's goal for an easy layup. Given that she was only 6 years old, she advanced rather quickly as a basketball player of some note for her age. Being comparable offensively with most other kids, boys and girls together, in the county who played the game, she displayed such exceptional defensive skills that oftentimes she had to be restrained by coaches in order to give opponents an adequate chance at playing her team even. Even so, she was an awesome sight on the court. She approached the game as a robotic machine. She practiced those small details of the game daily out of love and her competitive spirit. She loved winning no matter what the game, but I always taught her to express the courtesy of never belittling a weaker team or opponent while never playing beneath oneself. This oftentimes resulted in routs of the other team unless her coach put her on the bench, but that was as it should have been. She began her first official basketball camp that summer. She stood head and shoulders above kids her own age and those who were 2 or 3 years older, but her true height was that of the average 6-year-old. The high school girls basketball coach conducted the camp. After observing that smooth criminal who drove to the basket like a light, the coach assured us that she'd be able to pay her college costs should she continue to develop at her current rate. I had been playing with her as any parent would a loving child, and I had been instructing her as well since she was 2 years old. When the high school coach made the statement that a prodigy could pay her way through college with her athletic skills, I really began encouraging her to practice and play her best. I still have photographs of her. When she was 2 years old, she was given a Nerf basketball goal for use for one of her Christmas ball presents. The photos kept her in fine shooting form and making several baskets. And that same skill level displayed with T-ball as well. She simply loved any type of ball game. At age 4, she had become somewhat of a spoiled child since she was the only one. Additionally, she was the youngest child of her mom's family as far as nieces, nephews, and grandkids go. Consequently, her extended family doted over her, and she was certainly aware that she was the apple of many eyes. The negative side effect of all the attention was a tendency to always want her own way. Therefore, I got her involved with a t-ball team to teach her the concepts of team playing and sharing. She was an all-star her second and third years on her t-ball teams. So when she began the high school coach's basketball camp, she was already accustomed to being a standout. It was about this time that she began to follow the entertainment career of Michael Jackson. She was a devout follower over the next several years. It was during one of the years that Michael had the hit and on a smooth criminal. This seemed to be an appropriate tag to hang on her for her proficiency to swipe a basketball unencumbered by her opponents. She was also interested in the space shuttle program. In fact, she and I journeyed to visit the site of the space camp at Huntsville, Alabama location. She considered the possibility of becoming an astronaut. I explained she would have to learn to swim before she could go to and successfully complete a space camp training program. At about age 8 for her, I purchased a video camera. Since that time, I have recorded tons of film footage of her as she played t-ball, softball, basketball, participated in school plays and other events such as birthdays and Christmas. But it was her softball and basketball games that I enjoyed viewing most after filming. I had a video player that had a slow motion capability. Many times I've enjoyed viewing those exceptional plays in slow motion with the audio down. I turned the audio down so I could play special pieces of inspiring music as background to the visual feast before me. During t-ball tournaments, between games, most community centers would have hit, throw, and run competitions. She would win the run and throw competition and usually place second or third in the hitting. So she had the speed and she had the running skills and wisdom. She applied those same speed concepts to the game of basketball. She could often run and dribble a basketball as fast as most other players could run. She shot very quickly and on the run when needed. Therefore, she could be depended upon to shoot quickly in a pinch when necessary. At about the age of 9 or 10, in basketball, I showed her that she could set up defensively at half court as she waited for the opponent's offensive guard to bring the ball down court. She would then force the guard to go in the direction opposite the dribbling hand side. She would steal the ball and score the layup with 2 steps to spare before the stunned guard should even think of recovering from the theft. She would commit this crime with such regularity that her coach would have to call her off or put her on the bench in order for the opposition to be able to get the ball down court for scoring. Opponents would change guard in hopes of gaining a ball handler capable of getting past her. You could see the looks of frustration and disgust on their faces as they approached her. They reached a point where they would simply stop and then try passing the ball to some other reluctant player who knew the fate to come. So even when they tried to pass, she anticipated event with keen peripheral eagle-eye vision. Generally, a lightning-fast lunge or leap rewarded her with an intercepted pass, and again, she'd be on her way to a scoring binge. At age 10, her first basketball game of the season, she was playing against 3 other players on the opposing team who had attended those early year basketball summer camps. So they had developed their basketball skills as well. Most often, she would be the only one on her team who had opportunity to attend any official basketball camps. Nonetheless, she proved a formidable foe by scoring all 22 points for her team, defeating the other team by a score of 22-16. The other coaches of the other team was heard to exclaim, "The other team didn't beat us, Jill did." And surely enough, the statement rang true. She continued her county league career in the same fashion, but she never intentionally hogged the show. But when the game was on the line and the coach wanted to win, he would give ball and instructions to Jill. She almost always came through. Certainly her team lost some games, but not many. And when she lost, she'd be upset, but not for long. She took it for what it was, just a game. She has often made sure a fellow teammate who may be struggling or not being given a proper chance to show her skills would be incorporated into the scheme of a game to make the player shine, to make that player happy, or to make that player feel good about herself. She never took it upon herself to take over a game. This is always done at the discretion of the coach. And if the coach insisted on a team game, even to the point of losing, Jill would cooperate to that end. When she played, it was like pouring water out of a bucket. She simply flowed. Oh, how she flowed. She flowed with tremendous skill and speed and deceptive power. She was such a smooth criminal who moved at the speed of light. She broke a lot of teams and hearts of opponents on the field and on the court during those years. She's grown now and off to see the world. Consequently, I see little of her except in passing every now and then. Her friends and her future are her life now, and rightly so. Oh, how I miss her, and a casual conversation with her, an infrequent meal with her, a quite reflective moment with her. Children grow up quickly. Our purpose is to assure they can grow up. Our purpose is to assure they become independent with no need to rely on us anymore. Our purpose is to break our own hearts in the process, because you know that when you're successful in raising a child, you're also successful at breaking your own heart. When is that child? Where's that child I raised? Where's that child with whom I played so joyfully? A young child looks only forward to the life to come. A young adult looks at the past and at the future yet to come. But the older one gets, the tendency is to look historically over whims of senses. For logically, we know that death waits nearer and nearer beyond the future door. So no matter how old one gets, one should strive to continue concentrating on a future with only brief glimpses of the past. No matter how attractive and wonderful it may have been. But oh, what a past I can see. I see it in my head and on film that I still have. Oh, what a past I can see. But for sure, that smooth criminal has broken my heart, just as the children of most parents break their hearts when they leave the nest. She has broken my heart. She was left at the speed of light. A smooth criminal. Light drive.